Hey guys, Saintvicious here, and I'm going to be doing the patch 5.13 rundown, so let's hop into it. Alright, so there's a bunch of bug fixes here, like depth, recap, slow stacking, recoded line projectile skills. The slow stacking thing, a lot of people think is going to be like a big thing. I have to see how it like really affects in game and like how it like affects the tenacity, but now basically, like before, like let's say I'm Nunu and I like snowball somebody, and then I have red buff on top of that. Like once I connect my red buff, it'll just like stack that slow on top of my already like brutal Nunu slow. So once you get caught by one slow, you just like get pretty much bogged down. So I think this change will help a lot of melee champions, because now you won't be able to stack those slows super hard. So I could think like Jax could maybe be stronger, or like what's another champion that gets brutally want to say Rylais, even though she does have tenacity. I don't know, there's like a couple champions that get like really dicked by slow stacking, and I think this will help out a lot with that. Tahm Kench is not out yet, so I won't really talk too much about him, but he looks like he's going to be a really fun support champion, and maybe he'll actually be able to be used in a couple of the other lanes as well, depending on his numbers, so I'll talk about him when he actually does come out. Echo's attack frame slightly improved, and recommended items updated. That's, who cares. Fixed the bug that here Jace's R bonuses at 5, 10, 15 instead of 6, 11, 16. It's not going to make any difference in the game. Kalista, she now has her base attack rate. Her base attack ratio is now 0.9 instead of 1, and her base attack damage is 57, and her attack damage growth stat is now 3.5. So basically, if you have 400 AD on Kalista, which is kind of like rare to have all that AD, but you're gonna be missing out on like 10% of that damage. So that's like 40 attack damage you're gonna be missing out on. That's like almost a BF sword worth of attack damage if you have full build Kalista. That's gonna be the change to this. So that's actually kind of big. I think it's a decent nerf to Kalista, but I wish they would have just like tweaked the rend a little bit, because I think rend is like what makes Kalista brutally strong. Like if you get rend stacks on you early game, you just get like 2-shot by it, and she's just like way too strong of a lane bully. I don't think this is the right route that they should be going with Kalista, and I think she'll definitely be a weaker champion overall, and she has to snowball in lane with this. And now her Pierce can no longer be cast mid-dash, so you can't really like dodge abilities with it either. So these are like actually going to be pretty strong nerfs to Kalista, but I think she'll still be a strong champion just because of like how good her ultimate is. Like her ultimate makes a lot of supports just really deadly. Like Kalista Annie is like one to think of, or Kalista Alistar. Like it gives you a way to initiate, and it also gives you a way to save your support if they need it. We have Kale, Righteous Fury. Basically, her passive on her E is always on now, so you always do at max strength plus 30 AP damage, even though it's not range, and then now also has a ratio of 0.3. So I'm sure this will make Kale like a much better jungler, I feel like. Just because you can always have your E on, so you can clear super fast, and then there's also the new Devourer enchant coming in with this. I never really liked Kale jungle that much, but I definitely could see some people going towards that route, and I think she'll be able to like scrap and clear the jungle really fast and like power up. So I think a lot of these changes are going to help out Kale jungle a lot. Kennen fixed a bug in the tooltip where the stun duration was 1.25 seconds, but written as 1. It's just a bug fix. Fixed the bug where electrical surge sometimes wouldn't apply Market Storm to enemies with slicing maelstrom. That's just another bug fix. Doesn't matter too much. Alright, so Nautilus. Nautilus is like pretty much like a tier 1 support. He's probably like top 2, top 3 supports right now. He's really strong. And he's also really strong in the top lane, and that's because his base damages are so high. So like his E right now does like 220 base with a max damage of 330 at max rank, and then so they just toned it down to 300 base, and then at max damage and 200 on the first wave. I think these are like decent changes to Nautilus, because his E numbers are like way too high. But I still think he'll be a decent champion. Like Nautilus's ultimate is just ridiculous in team fights, and the amount of CC he has. So I still think he'll be a pretty decent support overall. So I don't know about as much about top lane Nautilus. I don't think he'll be like as good, but I think support Nautilus is still going to be super strong and super good. Reksai. So this is an interesting nerf that they did to Reksai, and I don't really like this because this is like, I don't like when they change a champion in the way where they take out the outplay factor of the champion. So like, let's say the Reksai Lee Sin matchup. Basically, Lee Sin will kick it, like he hits the Q on Reksai, and then Reksai can just like unburrow and then like knock the Lee Sin out of the Q if you have good timing. And you can do that with a lot of abilities. But now that the knockup radius is only 160 instead of 200. This is going to be able. I'm not sure you'll even be able to do that anymore without like Lee Sin hitting the Q or something like that. Before you could like completely negate the Q damage, and now I don't know if you'll actually be able to do that. So I think they took away a lot of the outplay potential. And to be honest, like I think in like low elo, Reksai will still be the same champion because I don't really think that many people take advantage of unburrowing like manually with the W as opposed to like auto attacking to unburrow. So I think like the bad Reksai players will still it'll be the same champion for them. But I think that like the top level Reksai will definitely this is definitely a nerf to Reksai. I still think she'll be good. Like she's still like a strong champion, a control champion, but a lot of her skilly moves she could do before you're not going to be able to do. Singe, they basically gave him the shed treatment. Now you have base magic resist increased by 2, and now you have magic resist per level. And then the root duration on the fling, when you fling him into the goo, is now 2 seconds at max rank instead of 1. Singe is just like an odd champion in general. Since they did change like the slow mechanics and the way that you can slow, like it doesn't stack. I think Singe might have some okay matchups. Like you could probably pick him into like Maokai or something like that, or what is popular right now? Nautilus. You can probably pick it into Nautilus. You can probably pick him into any of those like tank matchups top, and then just like bully it, or even like Aurelia. Singe has always been good against Aurelia, so I think Singe will. Sorry. I think Singe will have he'll have his place in the meta, and he'll be good in some like counter matchups, but I don't think he'll be like too popular with these changes. These are just like small, nice little buffs. Skarner, it's a bug fix. Syndra, Dark Spirit launched by Sky of the Week now. Stop in front of Yasuo's W Woodwell. Brahm's W Unbreakable Will. These look like a lot of bug fixes with her E, and then there's it looks like a lot of bug fixes with the way that Syndra interacts with like wind walls and things like that. I don't really think it's gonna make too much of a difference to champion. Thresh, these are just more bug fixes. So many bug fixes. Vigar, missile size now scales with Vigar's ability power. So I guess if you have 1,000 ability power, you're gonna have like this giant like ball coming at you. So it's just an aesthetic change. It's pretty cool though. AP Zen Zhao, baby. We got the 0.5 AP ratio going on here instead of the 0.7. I never really thought that AP Zenzel was that big a deal, to be honest, but I don't know. Like, I guess we gotta nerf it. Zenzel's like not even that popular, anyways. This is just a weird nerf in general. It's like a nerf for like lower elo games. I guess people are like trolling in there and playing AP Zenzel. Rewind. Rewind can no longer be cast on Zillion's Q, Time Bomb, and E Time Warp are off cooldown. Or off cooldown. Oh, okay, so it just makes you not want to waste Rewind, I guess. It won't let you use the ability if it like doesn't do anything. Pulsefire Ezreal, Mystic Shot is just aesthetic changes. Alright, here's the big change to the patch, the Devourer. So starting on hit magic damage is now 30 instead of 25. And then now large monsters give 1 stack per takedown, and you also get 1 stack per kill or assist. And then epic monsters, which is Baron or Dragon, get 5 stacks per takedown. Wait, how many stacks do you need? You need 30 stacks. And then so champions give 1 stack, and Rift Scuttler gives 2 stacks. So this is, if you look at the way the stacks work, they're basically like what happened before with Feral Player is like people get the Feral Player and they're like, wow, if I just get my 30 stacks, I'll like go off and carry the game. And they just sit in the jungle and farm and like not help their team at all, and then just like come out and be annoying and like hope that the team didn't die too much while they're stacking their Feral Player. But now, like, they want you to be getting vision of your team and getting the Rift Scuttler and be getting, like, objectives and stuff so you can stack it faster. So, like, the fact that you have to actually go out and get vision, like, getting 2 stacks on the Rift Scuttler is actually pretty big. Especially since, like, it only has 800 health early and you just, like, pop it really fast. So, I think this is a good route that they're going towards with the Devourer, and I think it's, like, the right choice. And then while stacking your Devourer, you're accompanied by a Ghost Dog who will grow a stack, so that's pretty cool. And at 30 stacks, Ghost Dog will merge a wielder, and the Devourer transforms into the Satyr Devourer. Basically, it doesn't grow anymore after that, but every other basic attack triggers on hits twice. I think with some builds, like with like a Blade of the Ruined King build or something like that, this would be super strong with some champions. So I'm sure there's going to be some people that are going to be getting Devourer, like Master Yi, or maybe even like an Evelynn build you could do with that, where you'd be super squishy, where you just assassinate people. or like maybe even there's anything that just like autos a bunch, like even a Warwick like one-shot build or something stupid. So yeah, I'm sure there's like a lot of dumb builds you can come up with this. But this item doesn't have CDR, and it doesn't have any other stacks besides attack speed and like on hit. So it's like an okay item, and it's good for giving champions damage that don't really have much scaling, that just scale off attack speed. Like Udyr will probably even be okay with this. What else champions? Hold up. I bet you even some Reksai players will go this, just because they nerfed all the AD ratios on Reksai. I could definitely see this being picked on Reksai. Or maybe even Nocturne or something. There's a bunch of champions you can use it on. Alright, enchantment, Runglaive, they basically buffed it. It's 10 more AP. Now it's a 1.0 base attack damage ratio on the Spellblade, and then they fixed a bug where Runglaive is applying spell effects, Rylais, Liandrys, and Ludens Echo. I mean, I don't even think Ludens Echo is that big a deal on the Spellblade, and I think that they just honestly just buffed the item, and there's gonna be even more people using this fucking item mid just because they buffed it again. So yeah, you can't use Ludens Echo on Ezreal, but who gives a shit? Because like, you know what makes AP Ezreal strong? The fact that his ultimate like legit one-shots you when you have enough AP, and then like the Q has like a 1.5 second cooldown, and you just spam the shit out of it. So not really sure about these changes. Yeah, I don't know. I wish they'd just like bring back the old AP item and then like start over with this item, because like the fact that laners are getting it means that it's just like a poorly designed item. Righteous Glory, this item used to be like 650, 700 health, something like that. Now it gives 500 health, so it's a pretty big nerf, and now it also has a 90-second cooldown. I think Righteous Glory will still be a good item. Still gives great stats, and the initiation factor that it gives is still really good, so I think Righteous Glory, people still get it. It's still an okay item, but this is definitely a big nerf to it. Spirit Visage, you now receive 20% bonus to all healing you receive, not just self-healing. So if you got a Soraka on your team, like a Sona, a Nami, or something like that, Spirit Visage is a pretty nice pickup. Alright, so they changed all the AP items. Blasting Wand costs 850, now it's at 860. Whoop-de-doo-dah, man. That's 10 gold. Needlessly Large Rod is now 1250 and gives 60 AP. That's actually really good, because it'll allow you to build allow you to itemize a lot better as a mid laner, because like 1600 gold is a lot of gold to sit on as a mid laner, or even like a top any champion. Like 1600 gold is pretty rough. Even though it does give less AP now, it's just a much better, much smoother build path. Rabadon's Death Cap builds out a Needlessly Large Rod, Blasting Wand, and Amp Tome, and a 935 gold recipe. And now it still gives the same amount of AP, but gives 5% more ability power bonus. I think this is actually a really good change to Rabadon's, because it's like a smooth build path, and basically if you just want to go for the I want to have as much AP as possible build, you have a pretty good build path into it. So Rabadon's a great item right now. Hourglass is now cheaper. It's 3,000 gold, but it gives 20 less AP. I think this is the right route to go with this item, because this item is meant to be a defensive AP item, and it's okay to have like 100 AP. Like, it's a decent amount of AP, and you're basically paying 3,000 gold for the Zhonya's active, which is like really invaluable on a lot of AP casters in some matchups. So it's good that they made it more accessible, the same way that they did with like QSS. Ludens Echo now costs 3,000 gold, gives 100 AP, and gives 10% movement speed. I don't really like Ludens Echo that much anymore, and I've kind of been moving away from this item ever since they changed the proc rate, so I don't think that many people will be building Ludens Echo anymore, especially the fact that it only gives 100 AP. So bye-bye Ludens Echo. Rylais, they made it basically where it's the same item, except the slow it applies is just overall stronger, and the AoE slow it applies is also stronger. So on some champions, like maybe even Singe, this could be pretty good. Yeah, 40% slow for 1 second on the Singe poison, like that's pretty nice. I think this matched with some of the other Singe changes. Like I think this is a good buff to Singe. Archangels is now 3,000 gold. Actually, on top of that, this is actually a good buff to Karthus, by the way, because Karthus always has his E on, so he always 40% AoE slows everybody when you go like a Archangels into Rylais build that I would really like a lot. And Archangels also got buffed now where it gets 80 AP, and it's just a better late game item overall. So I think Archangels, Rylais, Karthus is going to be a really strong next patch. They nerfed Roa in the initial build path, but that's fine because I didn't really like building Roa and Karthus anyways, and a lot of champions like Roa's like not really a popular item right now, just because of like how long it takes to ramp up. But I guess on like Rise and some champions like that, it's still like pretty good. It just takes longer to ramp up now, I feel like. Still an okay item, though. Hunting guys now cost 1,500 gold. Okay, 20 gold difference. But this is the big change. Liandrys Torment now gives 80 AP instead of 50. I always thought Liandrys was a good item, but it didn't give enough AP, so that just kind of fixed this problem. Because like Liandrys takes up an item slot late game, and you're like, man, I could have like Hourglass or like Ludens Echo on this spot, which would give like way more AP, and you're just basically paying for the proc at that point. But now that the fact that Liandrys Torment gives 80 AP, it actually makes it a good in-slot item. So this will actually be a decent mid to late game item as well. Void Staff now costs 2,500 gold, but gives 10 more AP. This is just to nerf. Like Void Staff's like way too good of an item, and I'm glad that they made it cost more, made it harder to access. So it'll be it's just this is gonna slow down the power spike of a lot of mages, just because this costs like this extra 105 gold. Gnasher's Tooth costs 80 more gold. 10% less attack speed, 20 more ability power. Nobody builds this item. It's garbage tier. Like maybe Kale will build it or something, but I don't think anybody's building this right now, so that doesn't matter. Now Woda, your abilities heal you 15% of the damage dealt, calculated before your opponent's resistance, at 33% effect for AoE. So this is like a super big buff for Vladimir, just because now you don't have to like get pennas early on, and you'll just be vamping for like an insane amount. You can vamp off tanks really easily too. So Vlad will just be like impossible to fucking kill. Damn. Yeah, that's like so much healing. Rylais+Archangels now just has a different build path. It's still the same item though, not much of a difference. Same thing with the themes on Holy Grail. And I believe that is it for all of the Summoner's Rift changes. So that's going to be the end of the patch notes. I hope you guys enjoyed them. Just to do a TL fast recap. Hunting guys, Liandrys is now good. Archangels Rylais build is now good. Ludens sucks. Hourglass good. Deathcap good. Spirit Visage okay. Righteous Glory still good. Runglaive OP. Devourer good on some champions. I think that's. Oh yeah, Singe sometimes good. Reksai needs still the same in low elo, harder in high elo. Naut is still good. Kale good jungle. And that's it. That's it for the changes. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys later.